It's time for the KickAround, the Ticket's weekly show all about soccer. 2 hours of HSOs on the clubs, leagues, and tournaments of the world's game. It doesn't matter if you're new to the sport, don't worry. This is the Ticket. We're just kicking it around. Now, here's two guys who still have their moms drive them to practice. Andy Swift and Peter Welpton.
Maitland-Niles. That's a good ball. Banana. Satriano. It's behind him. Ghazal. Tessman! Oh, cracking goal. Tanner Tessman steps off the bench. And then Tessman thundered in with a shot which Barkas rarely saw.
Howdy ho, P1s, and welcome to the KickAround. Saturdays, generally whenever college football allows us to broadcast. Today, that would be noon to 2:30. Here on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310, The Ticket, where you, the good P1, sits around, talks soccer, and all that implies. Don't forget, you can also find us on our website, thekickaround.com. Howdy, it's me, Peter. And to my left, but you're right, as you stare into your radio or streaming device, it is the world's most interesting man and big-time sports fan, Andy Dalton Swift.
Peter, I am shocked. I am
Why?
shocked you picked the Tessman goal, which was a golazo. But there was a certain at-the-death goal score today that I for sure
I didn't want to
would
do
have been-
that to you, Andy.
Thanks. We'll talk about that
You
one.
were already pretty clearly raw and sensitive over Liverpool's big result today, and I didn't want to rub it in.
Speaking of raw and sensitive, at the mix, you disclosed that you had dropped your alma mater,
I did.
Tech.
Yes.
Have you dropped your soccer club, Man United, as
No,
well?
I will not do that.
What are you wearing? Tell me exactly what you're wearing.
I am wearing a
Mhm.
Brentford
You are.
who beat United today.
Yeah.
I am wearing a Brentford goalkeeper jersey, which has Eyestone on the back, Julian Eyestone from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as we've had on the KickAround's own,
Sure.
Andy.
Okay. But
With his number 41 as an homage to Dirk. And I
Okay.
thought, after whipping up on United today 3-1, this would be kind of the way to pay off a bet that was never made kind of thing.
okay, in your head, maybe it was made.
Yes.
Okay, so you're not turning on your club.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean you turned on your alma mater.
I think there are breaking points for everything, right? And in my case, with my University of Texas Tech, there were a number of incidences and matters and things that I didn't agree with. And
because you're still a Cowboys fan, right?
I am still a Cowboys fan.
And
yes.
a United fan, but
And a
but
United fan.
Tech went so far that you broke with them.
I did, yeah.
Wow, must have been bad.
It was unpleasant. Yes,
Okay.
it was a series of incidences that I disagreed with.
We should do a segment on that one day when
I'll discuss it with you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just, it's funny to me that after all these years, all it took for Tech was just to start paying everybody, and now they could be at the top of the sports world.
But everybody pays everybody now, so
Well, they're good at it. See, that's the deal.
Okay.
That's the thing Tech turned out to be really, really good at.
so now it's just
was
above
writing
board.
checks.
Now it's
Yeah.
above board.
Now it's
Okay.
above board and writing checks.
Okay.
We got a lot going on today. Obviously, it was a tremendously interesting day in the Premier League. It's also the first show we've had back since the start of Champions League and Europa League. So we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. Our favorite new weekly segment, weekly meaning or regular, how about that? Our new regular segment, World Cup Nerd. We'll get into World Cup stuff. And, of course, America's favorite soccer segment known as The Dribble. But let's start with the most serious and important of all the segments. Andy, it was quite a day in the Premier League, and it started when you woke up early to get ready to watch Brentford and Manchester United, because suddenly I don't know how you found out about this.
I read it on Twitter, or X, like everybody else gets their news, or no?
Well,
Doesn't
I turned
everybody
on, I flipped on the TV,
okay.
15, 20 minutes before the start of the
Yeah.
game.
Ah, okay. You were
and
up
Rebecca
early then.
Lowe is talking about Nuno,
Yeah.
Espirito de Santo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And while we were all sleeping, West Ham hired Nuno as their new manager.
We were sleeping because we're 6 hours behind.
Were you aware that West Ham had sacked Potter?
Didn't that come out yesterday?
Well, they're saying it came out yesterday, but maybe I missed it. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I thought it did come out. Yeah.
They said they sacked him on Saturday. I was completely unaware that
Okay.
Potter had lost his job.
Last Saturday?
No, yesterday. No.
Today is Saturday.
Oh, Saturday
so-
is Saturday. Yes, wait, what am I thinking?
Okay, let's reset. Okay.
So
This is the kick around, 12 to 2:30.
So they must have
On
sacked him
Saturday.
early England time Saturday
Sure, right.
while we were sleeping,
Yes.
and then turn around and hired Nuno.
That's how it works. So this
I don't know how time zones work, Andy.
this is smart by the Hammers because they nabbed Nuno, who's a very good coach. I'm a big fan. Are you? I think you are too. Just in time for United not to be able to get him. Right? I mean, this was a move. Like, we got to nab him for.
I guess the question is, would Ineos consider Nuno as a replacement for Amorim, assuming Amorim loses his job, and we'll get into that here a little bit later on. I don't know if Nuno's the kind of guy they wanted to hire for that.
No.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Would Nuno want that job? I think Nuno will take whatever Premier League job he can get. I don't know. I mean, the West Ham job seems pretty.
It's good.
Is it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're in the relegation zone now. It's a great time to take over a club. Like, if you go down, well, they were going to go down. If you save them, you're a hero. And it's early.
I mean, he did great things with Wolves. He did great things with Forest. He had struggles with the last time he was in London with Spurs, but I'm not 100% sure that was really his fault as much as it was the kind of jankiness of the roster. But then again, West Ham's roster is kind of goofy right now,
It is,
too.
but that's an opportunity then.
Yeah. It is weird how quickly all that went down, and you juxtapose that with some other clubs that are clearly struggling with their seasons and lots of questions about the status or safety of their managers. Obviously, the new one, not the new one, but the hottest topic right now is going to be Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. And the fact that Ruben's record at United really isn't any better, although over a much longer period of time than the very short window of time that Graham Potter was getting. Do you realize Potter was only hired in January of this year?
Wow.
He's been there 8 months.
Yeah.
That's it. He had a
but
winning
he just
percentage of 26%.
He didn't do anything with him.
No, but there are, neither is Amorim either. And
No,
United
he's
continues
lost
to kinda-
more than one or tied.
Yes, he's 17-something and 18 now in the Premier League. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so West Ham do not play till Monday. They have Everton on Monday, and that'll be his first game in charge.
Is that at home?
No, it's at Everton.
Okay.
So we'll see how it plays out for Nuno. I like Nuno. I thought he was doing great things at Forest. I was a bit surprised things went sour.
That was an ownership issue.
Yeah, well, I just think that
Personality.
Edu, I think there was an Edu thing too. I think
right.
Edu had a big part in
yeah,
that too.
Yeah, you're right.
I think they just wanted a different style of play, which seems weird considering how far, he got them into Europe, for goodness sake. So
yeah, but they got a manager who had experience now in Europe, and they're going to play in Europe, so
Yes.
maybe that was part of it.
And they're playing now, too, by the way. I don't know what the score is. We'll have to check that out. As Forest and Sunderland are on right now, and Tottenham and Wolves is on later on this afternoon. So, anyway, West Ham, the boss man, Cat, I have not checked in with him to check his temperature on whether or not he's excited about that news. I know he was frustrated with the ongoing
I bet he'd be on
results.
board.
I'm sure, everybody just loves to change their manager and assumes things will get better or worse. Things will get better. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. A lot of it is
It cannot get
rosters,
worse.
man. Well, it could. They could get relegated.
Their season stopped today.
And I'm
they
saying,
would get relegated.
I get that.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
okay.
but the season could actually end and them actually get
Yeah.
relegated. So that would be the worst part if it did. In other news, on the good side, okay, I guess I haven't been paying attention. Harry Kane scored his 100th goal for Bayern Munich already.
Yeah. I mean,
Does that?
it's Bayern and the Bundesliga.
No. The thing that I knew he had been scoring goals, but I was completely unaware he was getting ready to eclipse 100 goals.
Yeah, I guess because you don't or we don't follow them on a weekly basis.
No,
right?
but were you even,
No,
like when
no.
you saw the news that he had hit his 100th goal, did that catch you off guard in any way? Because it totally did me.
It surprised me he had already gotten to 100, but it didn't surprise me. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, here's the kicker. He did this in 104 games.
Yeah.
That is the fastest anybody has hit 100 goals for a club, any club in a club in Europe's top 5 leagues. For comparison, Holland took 105 games to do it for City, and Ronaldo also took 105 games to do it for Madrid.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's a beast, man.
He also is the 19th Bayern player to hit 100 goals. He seems to be having a perfectly fine time over in Germany.
He'll come back to Premier.
All right, before we go, Monday is a big day for the World Cup here in the United States.
What happens?
It is the day those of us who have registered for the right to buy tickets, not prepaid, because if you've done the right to buy and you spent your money up front to button line, the fast pass, as we like to call it, you're already able to do this. But Monday is the day you will begin to get emails from FIFA if you have been selected for the chance to log in.
If you've been drawn.
Yeah. To, yes, whatever you want to call it. If you've been drawn at random to the right to go online and buy tickets.
And then what?
And
then you're given a time
Visa,
window.
And then you're given a time window, and you got to get out your Visa card, and you got to go select whatever games and seats and all that stuff. We still don't have a really clear idea of what ticket prices are going to be across different stadiums and games.
I guess they'll release the first set of ticket prices once this goes on.
I guess,
right?
yeah. Because just because you get the email on Monday or sometime after Monday, the actual window of time in which tickets go on sale isn't until sometime later in October, correct? Isn't that like the 15th or 18th or something?
I'm not sure the exact dates. It may not be that long after, but yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a delay. It's not like you get the code and suddenly you log on and buy tickets.
Peter, who's going to play here in Dallas?
I don't know.
Right, none of us know.
No, nobody knows.
It's the draw. The draw takes place December 5th.
In D.C.
Yeah, 11 o'clock Central.
So, because a lot of people have been very confused about this entire process, but I suspect it'll be really interesting to see how well this works in terms of the technology.
What do you do if you are selected?
Will you ask me what will I do?
Yeah.
I'll log on and see what is option. I'll buy a ticket to a game here in Dallas if I can.
Okay.
I mean, I want to say that I went to a World
Sure.
Cup game, or as many as I can.
Would you go to like another city, Houston, KC, one of the cities that are close by?
Well, we can't because we're doing the show. We're kind of landlocked to staying here because of the radio show and work.
We talked about
renting an RV.
Yeah, right. And
2 RVs, according to you.
Doing
separate RVs.
Separate RVs. Have a mobile studio.
We were going to do the show on the road, but
Yeah.
then we got 9 World Cup games here in Dallas, and it just seemed kind of silly to leave.
Our venue became a rock star venue, and it's like, we should stay here.
It's going to be pretty great. It is going to be wonderful. So anyway, just as a reminder, if you signed up for your FIFA thing and you're waiting to know, Monday, at some point Monday, start checking your email. Make sure you look in your spam folder too, and check out if you got chosen to go and buy tickets at face value.
Did you have a Visa card prior, or did you open up an account?
I had a Visa card prior.
Right.
Yes, I made sure. Yes, for sure. You?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We're going to take a break. Holy cow, what a day in the Prem, and we'll talk about it next here on the Kick Around. Forest currently are behind at home to Sunderland in Ange Postecoglou's first game at Forest. So drama ensues in the day in the Premier League. Welcome back to the Kick Around, which, by the way, we are on till 2:30 today. We get an extra bonus Kick Around segment, Andy, and we decided we're going to leg wrestle that entire 20, 30 minutes or so?
Obvious.
Okay. All right. We'll do that here a little bit later in the show. Let's get into what has turned out to be quite the day in the Prem.
Overrated.
What, the Premier League is overrated?
No, today. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't.
Today was a fantastic day. It was awesome. Man City showed why they're going to win.
Such a
buried Burnley.
All right, let's start off. I know. I thought. See, this is the problem with the results today because of Liverpool's first loss of the season. I can't figure out if I'm relieved that Andy's kind of in a sour mood, so he's not kicking me in the sack over my team's demolition, or if I thought that actually makes for really funny radio, and I'm kind of bummed out that Andy isn't providing that level of fun on the show today.
Let's get to the game. Brentford and Man U.
All right, so yesterday, I think it was, Amorim got into his press conference, and I'm going to paraphrase here. He essentially said something along the lines of, look, I have no idea what I'm going to get out of this group of players. And I immediately tagged that as the biggest red flag since the invention of the red flag. This was the most obvious result possible out of this club. And it's maddening because a lot of the talk was at the beginning of the season, yeah, I know you're not in Europe and you don't have midweek games, but now Amorim has all of this time. Every week, he finally has all this training time he was whining about not having last season as he was trying to implement this nutty system and tactics of his. And yet here again, they have lost at Brentford 3-1. He now has lost more games than won. And the list, it is like a garden hose turned on full blast. The list of negative stats and factoids that are coming out about United.
Yeah, and we can talk about a pivotal moment in this match that might have turned things around a little bit for United. But the fact is that they didn't play a good game. And it's like week after week, it's the same thing, right? And so eventually, because I think when they hired him, you said he has a wonky system, and it's just going to take a while for that system to start working. Now, did you mean it to take this long and longer, or are you by now it should be working now?
I think it would have been unfair to think it would be a finished product even at this point, but I don't think it was unfair to expect improvement by this time. And while we've seen little improvements here and there, they've been leading. They lead the Premier League in all kinds of attacking stats, like XG, shots on goal, this, that, and the other. They're just not converting them.
Yeah.
And, there will be some people today that said, you know what, United probably should have won this game. Bruno missed a PK. They had a couple of other good opportunities.
Yeah, but them losing this game, I mean, I don't think Brentford was played out of the park. Brentford
was outstanding today.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Brentford are not a good team. They're bad. United going to Brentford today and losing 3-1 fairly easily is a giant damning reality for where the state of Manchester United is. I mean,
so it was two bad teams playing each other, essentially, right?
There was a point in the game where I thought, this is the most ridiculously poorly played Premier League game I have seen in a really long time.
On. The
number of turnovers, unforced errors, unforced turnovers, the inability for either team to collect the ball. It wasn't that it was a boring game.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying about the quality of play. And that, I thought, today was really poor by both teams overall.
So let's talk about the moment, right? Because I think it was
Which one?
the penalty, the non-red card, like the yellow that should have been a red. Do you agree that should have been a red? And describe it. I mean, what
So
happens?
Brian Mbeumo gets in behind, and there is a ball being played across the face of the goal. He's going to run in on it, and I think it's Nathan Collins is the defender marking him. Nathan clearly kind of grabs him by the shoulder and turns Mbeumo as the ball is coming across, and the penalty is called, and Collins is given a yellow card. Now, by the letter of the law, that is a double jeopardy denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and there are kind of four things you need for that where it is on the field, this, that, and the other. But the one that the PGMOL was claiming was the reason why VAR said it was not double jeopardy, red, and a PK, was because Mbeumo didn't have control of the ball. This is where I think their interpretation of that element of the law and my interpretation differ, because it doesn't say you have to have control. You have to be likely to be able to control the ball.
Yeah, and the defensive move prevented him from getting control.
Yes. And so does the game come out differently if the United play with a man advantage for the last 15 minutes? Maybe. It's not like they were really good to that point.
No, but it does. This all plays into the Fernandez PK effort. Essentially, he was iced by VAR.
Oh, I never
because
even
he
thought
had
about
a long
this.
time to think about all this, and he's he's more of an emotional player, right?
Just a little bit.
So a guy like that he's not the icy penalty kick taker. He works at, it's a different thing for him.
Yeah, he's into a system, and he didn't do it. He didn't do his little leapy-doo thing.
He had a lot of time to think about things.
Yes.
So that, I think, also cost him the whole having to go to VAR and looking at it a long time cost him that goal.
Yeah, they spent like 5 minutes watching that thing. Maybe I don't know. I mean, first off, Kelleher my perception is he's actually well known as being a good PK stopper. It was not a well taken PK. Bruno's already missed one earlier this season. Even if at the end of the day he misses it, but they have a man advantage, United might score a tying goal. I just don't know. What did I say about United at the beginning of the season? What was my overriding question about this team, and Amorim in particular, at the beginning of the season?
You laughed at me because I picked them top 4. Beyond that?
No, yes, beyond that.
I don't remember.
My big question was, would Ruben Amorim survive September?
Oh, yeah. No, that was your wonky pick. Yeah,
and
sure.
And it wasn't a pick. It was just a question because the schedule was so difficult and so filled with potential potholes. Beating Chelsea last week in that weird way. Do you realize that I don't think he's yet to have won back-to-back games since like the first 2 games he was participating or something weird like. I mean, it's so bad. And I do wonder if he'll get the sack before the end of the month.
And the thing is, it's Man United. It's not, we're not talking about Crystal Palace or Everton. This is a brand that has expectations, demands and expectations. What?
So I'm going to I feel very strongly about this position.
Okay.
Because I am a lifelong Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
And I have watched a former giant of the NFL crumble into essentially nothing over the course of 30 years. And the lesson I have learned from that I try to impart on my United friends is that just because you were once a giant doesn't mean you're entitled to become a giant once again. And so I think I get a little frustrated by the ongoing, well, it's United, they're eventually going to figure it out.
No, this is what this means, though. This is the difference, is that they do spend a lot of money. And that's why there are expectations.
Sure, but they're terrible
at it. You can't expect that from Brentford or Bournemouth. But you should expect it from United because of their payroll.
I'm not saying you shouldn't expect it. It doesn't mean you're entitled to it.
No, of course not.
I think a lot of people make an assumption that eventually United will come good and become the big giant.
The badge is not
used
enough.
To be.
Of course.
No.
Of course. The crest doesn't do it all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's a bad situation.
They got to make good decisions, and they made bad decisions.
It's a terrible situation. It's the worst. All right, so Brentford end up winning that game. A game, by the way, they really needed to win.
Yeah.
They've not started well this season. They've not been good. I don't even know if this means they are good. I don't think it does because I think beating United is not really any better than beating a lower table team. So not sure what this means from that.
Okay.
The other big result of the day at Selhurst Park.
We're almost out of time, by the way.
We can do this over the course of 2 segments if you'd like to, Mr. Swift. For the first time in 11 years, Crystal Palace has won against Liverpool at Selhurst Park.
So yesterday we were on the phone preparing our show.
Yes.
Wow, we pre-plan. And I mentioned that this was going to be the game where Liverpool was finally going to pay for
and
playing
I
with
scoffed
fire.
At you.
You did, because you said that Palace hasn't had results against Liverpool at Selhurst Park. But they have at Anfield, I guess, because I feel like they've had Liverpool's number.
Yeah, I could see why you'd feel that way.
And so going into this match, I was like, man, this is the one where I don't think it's going to go well. And it didn't.
Man, and you were this close to pulling off the late goal result.
Yeah, by not playing well.
Well, but, okay, so this is the question I want to ask you about Liverpool, which is this whole theory about ceilings and floors. Like, every team has a floor that they are potentially going to play at. And a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And I can't figure out with Liverpool at this point if we're watching a team that is playing closer to its floor and eventually is going to click and its ceiling is so high that it's going to really start to blow everybody out. Or are we watching a Liverpool side that is kind of currently banging on its ceiling, and that's good enough to keep them...
I think it's in the middle. Yeah. I think it's in the middle. I think that the potential for the ceiling to be a lot higher is all up to the Isak signing and how well he today wasn't good, right? But one game, and I'm just not a big fan of that signing in the short term. I don't know how much it's going to disrupt things. Things were all right before.
Why?
Because you have. If you have too much in the locker room, you got to divide playing time. People are going to be unhappy, and things were already okay. So I'm just concerned. Maybe I'm just being neurotic Liverpool fan, nervous.
Can I raise an observation?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you at all disappointed that he has showed up reportedly in pretty poor shape?
Yeah, of course. Yes. And his attitude when leading up to this wasn't great with his former club. And so things were kind of okay up front. My worry's always been in the back a little bit with this team. And then so the floor can go a lot lower if they do have injury issues in the back. And that's how the floor can get lower.
Well, yeah, but that could apply to any team with any particular position.
But this team has very little depth, or not as much depth.
Well, they certainly don't now because the young Italian guy blew his knee out.
Anyway. So, this was a deserved loss, and maybe it is a wake-up call that, because they were pulling a lot of games out of it.
So Crystal Palace is remarkable. Glasner continues to get results. Am I correct in saying they are now the only undefeated team in the Premier League?
Are they?
I think that's correct. This was the battle of the last two undefeated clubs in the league.
3 wins, 3 draws.
He's done it again. He's lost players.
Second place right now. Arsenal can overtake him for second if they win tomorrow.
Chris Richards is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk to Jeff Carlisle.
Yes. He's playing really well.
And ask him about him.
There's so many things to like about the Palace story. The scene, and again, for those P1s that have never had an opportunity to go see a game at Selhurst Park, I can't recommend it any more highly. And I can't imagine what it must be like to go to a game at Selhurst Park when Crystal Palace are playing this well.
Yeah.
Imagine
being there when they win at the death.
Yes. And so the irony, because a lot of the talk leading through this season has been that somehow the scriptwriters are allowing more time to be added on for Liverpool, and that's how they're winning these games late. And if it wasn't Liverpool, they wouldn't get 8 extra minutes. Today, it didn't work in their favor as Crystal Palace score literally at the death.
Yeah.
To end up
and
winning
offside
that
by inches, by the way. Centimeters.
But
that's okay.
You think he was offside?
I'm sorry, onside by inches.
Onside.
Yeah. But you know what? If he was offside and they called it back by inches as well, that would have been crappy also, right? I mean,
yeah, it's crazy. I feel like we're not giving Palace enough coverage because Oliver Glasner has done miracles, and his deal is up with Palace at the end of this season. He almost quit over the whole Eza thing and the Guy thing and all of that stuff. So whatever happens to him, by the way, he plays the system that Amorim plays and would fit really well at United. But why would you want to go there?
He's got the right personnel at Palace. United, just part of the reason United is not working because they don't have the right personnel for it.
No, they really don't. All right. So there's the start of the remarkable day in the Premier League. When we come back, we'll get through the rest of it and preview tomorrow's game with Arsenal next on the KickAround. It feels like a smart time to check in with our good friend from ESPN, Jeff Carlisle, to talk about the ongoings with the U.S. men's national team, Pochettino, and all things Yanks leading up to the World Cup. So we'll do that with the good Jeff Carlisle here in about 15 minutes on the Kick Around. Welcome back. Currently live in the 71st minute. Forest is still behind at home in Ange's first game there for Forest, 1-0 to Sunderland.
And Sunderland, that would bring them up to third if the score holds. It's been a wonky start to the season if you look at the table. Like, I know it's only 6 fixtures, right? But you have, let's go back to last year's after 6 matches. There are no clubs in the top 8 other than Fulham, perhaps, that were a surprise at Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs. This year, in the top 8, you have
United.
No, they're not. They're just not that anymore, Peter.
No, they're not.
This year, you have Palace, you have Bournemouth, who are in third right now. I mean, pending this Sunderland result. Sunderland. You also have Fulham doing really well to start the season. So we're seeing a little bit more of the mid-table non-powers or non-traditional teams in the top spots than before.
I don't disagree. I think the big shift that's happening this season, which really is different from the previous 2, is how well the newly promoted sides are doing.
So Sunderland is one of them. They would be the one.
Just repeat, because Sunderland, again, are currently in third place.
Right.
Sunderland!
Yeah, and the other one is Leeds. They're mid-table, and who else? Burnley, and they're not well. So some of it, Sunderland, okay, but Palace, the Cherries,
sure.
those
100%.
are, and Fulham now 2 straight years that are making noise.
I mean, at the I guess it would depend who's what's the game at the it's Tottenham and Wolves. So Tottenham could change this, but right now the standings are Liverpool, Palace, Sunderland, Bournemouth, then Man City, and then Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal has a game to play, and so does Tottenham, but it is crazy. Moving on, Chelsea have a home game today. They go up 1-0 on a Enzo Fernandez goal in the 24th. Brighton is in town. Danny Welbeck hits a brace, and Brighton beat Chelsea, who end up playing down a man after the last 35 minutes or so of the game.
How's that Club World Cup working out for you?
Yeah, let's talk about that in a second. Brighton win that game 3-1. Chelsea now are 2-2-2 on the season. They've got 8 points, and we were just talking about how terrible the United season is. Well, they also didn't get a result against United, and on top of that, they're only 1 point ahead of United.
No.
In the standings. They have 8,
they are.
And United has 7.
There's a lot of teams that are clumped in the middle.
They're all clumped in there. And again, what's the temperature of Maresca's seat? I don't know.
Yeah, well, take away the World Club Cup, which they won. Would everybody's expectations for Chelsea just suddenly shot up because they won that thing, which was like,
but it was how they won it. It wasn't. They looked really good in that tournament, and things really began to click, and Maresca was doing things with that group of players that was like, wow, the guy actually seems to have a plan and it's working. And I also kind of like Maresca's personality, like he's not letting the players run him over. Like he's like, I'm the boss, you guys are doing it my way.
Do you still you picked them top 4? You still feel top 4 for him?
Oh, man, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, here's the big question is we're starting to now see all the injuries they're dealing with, and the direct and obvious question is how much of that is caused by the fact that they had to play in the Club World Cup. I saw an article, I meant to pull it for today and I forgot. Somebody was doing a running list of teams and players who played in the summer tournament and who are now showing up hurt early in their league seasons. And the direct correlation of how much of that has to do with the fact that they all played in the United States in the summer. So
if there's a high correlation, you're going to see people pulling out of playing in that thing in the future.
Probably, yeah. Leeds United drew against Bournemouth. They were up 2-1 until Bournemouth scored in the 94th minute. A good result for the Cherries. Well, I should say, I'm sure they are disappointed they didn't get the full 3 points at Ellen Road, but Leeds have to be pretty delighted as they needed to win themselves, and Leeds currently now sit in 11th. Again, another promoted side that I think is playing well beyond what we thought or should have anticipated going into the season.
Yeah, I think Leeds is they were my pick to stay, so a 2-2-2-2 start is okay. I think it's Sunderland. Sunderland's the surprise team.
Super surprise,
yeah.
Yes. Now, of all the results that happened today, this is the one that probably doesn't surprise anybody. City hosting Burnley, end up toasting them 5-1. Allen scored twice at the end of the game, scored in the 90th and 93rd minute, and end up winning that game.
I didn't watch that game. How was City in that game?
I didn't.
No? Okay.
Yeah. So they had 68% of the ball, and probably exactly what you would would expect. That they also got 2 own goals out of the game. Poor guy Esteve had 2 own goals for Burnley in that game in the 12th and 65th minute. So he was City's second highest goal scorer. And again, another surprise, at least pending result in the 76th minute. Sunderland up at Forest 1-0, and then we've got the game this afternoon at 2 p.m. Spurs hosting Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves that's the one team in definite trouble. 5 games, 5 losses.
Yeah, I like Pereira too. Yeah, they're definitely. Lars has spent so many seasons promoting or predicting Wolves' demise.
Their demise is happening. It's finally happening.
And I don't think he predicted him to get relegated this season.
No, he did a 3-up, 3-down, I think.
I think he did too, yeah. Now, tomorrow, interesting game, 2 interesting games. Aston Villa, who are in a bad way, are hosting Fulham, who have been playing quite well of late. And Jedi Robinson may end up starting that game. Everybody keep an eye on that. Unai Emery having all kinds of weird problems. And this is one of the weird things about this, because the roster that got them into Europe last year and played in the Champions League last year is by and large the same group of guys. And they've only scored 1 goal this season.
1 goal in 5 games.
In the league. And I know they played and won in
1-0.
1-0.
That was at home against Bologna.
So, I don't know, man. I asked the question, how much of this is the Unai Emery effect, where he kind of wears people out? Could it possibly be happening this quickly? I just don't understand how this thing has gone sour so quickly. Yeah,
and last year at this point, they were rolling, remember? Had won 4 of 6, top 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'd done so many good things, and he's clearly built a ton of credit at Villa. But the question is now, how quickly can he burn through it?
Yeah, and they're going to be playing in Europe, which is going to add another layer of difficulty.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it's Newcastle and Arsenal. Arsenal have not won at St. James Park in their last 3 games. Newcastle's played really well.
Say that again?
Arsenal have not won at St. James in the last 3 Premier League games, or last 3 games. I think there's a cup game in there too. Newcastle's had a really good run at home against Arsenal of late. Interesting game, because Arsenal now has an opportunity with Liverpool's loss to catch up within 2 points of Liverpool. We were all worried about, if you're a neutral, worried about the gap growing between Liverpool and everybody else. Arsenal has an opportunity to catch up. Now, I'm really brokenhearted that Madueke got hurt and is out for a while with that injury. Odegaard, I assume, will come back and play this week. Arsenal starts maybe get a few pieces back. Will Arteta play differently than he did against City in that game last week, which was such a weird game between those 2 teams? And again, they have not played well at St. James Park of late.
No, and Newcastle too. They're desperate for a result here, because their season is also starting to go south. And is Howe in trouble?
Yeah, and there's people I've seen people saying, "What about Eddie Howe for Manchester United if Amorim gets fired?"
You know what? That's not a bad shout.
That is a bad shout.
No?
I don't like that shout. Please,
no,
I don't like that shout. No,
you don't like Eddie Howe for United?
No, I don't. That's not.
Who do you want for United?
Well, I would love to see
Mourinho.
No, Areola. But I don't know why. I mean, they'd have to. Will Dave Foley let that happen? Bill Foley, I'm sorry. Bill Foley, let that happen? I mean, he'll just I'll money whip you to stay. You're helping us out so much here at Bournemouth. But it's such a huge opportunity. I don't know. And then on Monday, as we mentioned earlier, it is Nuno's first game in charge, as Nuno is now the manager at West Ham United. If you missed it from the beginning of the show, Graham Potter got sacked earlier in the day. I was so confused on what day it was. And then Hammers turn around and announce that Nuno is now the manager, and he will have his first gig for the Hammers at the new Everton Stadium on Monday at 2 p.m. And that is the day in the Premier League. When we come back, we'll dial up our good friend from ESPN, Jeff Carlisle, and talk all things U.S. men's national team and the roster next year on the Kick-Around. A favorite new regular segment here on the Kick-Around, World Cup Nerd. We'll take a look at the beginning of the U20 World Cup, which kicks off this weekend. And we'll do that here on the Kick-Around. Welcome back. Yes, the soccer show on the ticket is running from noon to 2:30 today before we lead into college football. What game is the game that's on after us, EA?
LSU and Ole Miss.
Yes, okay, college football, but that means we get a bonus segment of Kick-Around, so look forward to that. All right. Let's go to the Diamond Factory ticket hotline, where our good friend from ESPN and all-knower of all things U.S. men's national team, the good Jeff Carlisle, joins us. Welcome, Jeff, to the Kick-Around once again.
Peter and Andy, thanks for having me on.
We love having you on.
You're the expert, man. Teach your knowledge, or impart your knowledge on us.
Are you vibrating with World Cup anticipation, knowing that this is going to consume your life for a good part of next year?
I don't know about vibrating, but preparing with a certain level of wariness, because it seems like there's a lot of chaos surrounding it, but both for the U.S. and for the tournament as a whole. But we'll see how things go.
All right. Well, that's an interesting question. Before we get into the roster thing, now that you said that, what is your, as somebody that is clearly very focused on the tournament, what is the one overriding thing that consumes most of your thinking these days about the tournament, not necessarily the team?
I think there are a lot of questions about, how the tournament is going to be run. You've got President Trump saying yesterday that they're going to take games away from certain cities. Now I don't think that's going to happen. But I think it just points to the potential for a certain level of chaos in terms of how the tournament is organized, in terms of how the tournament is run. And so, just speaking for me personally, I think, there's a certain level of wariness about, what's going to happen. And, my hope is that it ends up being like, that all the other World Cups I've ever attended. I'm sure there'll be some organizational hiccups, but, nothing major, and that the fans and the players can give everyone a tournament to remember.
Are you planning, are you going to follow the team venue to venue, or are you having home base somewhere and parking?
The plan is to follow the team from venue to venue, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. They're going to be based down in L.A. or the L.A. area, I should say. I think that's where they're going to train, and then they have a couple of games there and another game in Seattle, and then we'll see where they head after that. Because with 48 teams, it's
could be Dallas.
It's a fluid situation. Yes. If
the U.S. ends up in second place, they play here in Dallas
on July 3rd, and you can stay at Andy's house.
Sure.
There you go.
We're inexpensive compared to the Airbnb prices you'll come across.
So, Jeff, one of the main, we love having you on the show, but I thought it was a really good week to have you on because you've been publishing lists to ESPN.com specifically about the roster, which I think is the most interesting aspect of what is going on with the U.S. men's national team. It always is with every national team going into a World Cup, which is the drama surrounding who are going to be the guys the manager picks. And you've got two different lists you've been working on. You've got what you call the big board, and then you've got your kind of inform 11. Let's start with the big board overall. if you had to like give somebody kind of an elevator pitch of the current status of the big board in the U.S. men's national team, what would that be?
Man, so many questions. I mean, so many fluid situations at some really key positions. I'm thinking about goalkeeper. I mean, Matt Freese is the guy who seems to have his nose in front in terms of the starting spot, but Matt Turner's not going to give that up without a fight. You've got another guy in Zach Steffen with huge experience. So, and no one's really kind of dominated. No one's really kind of just sees that position. I mean, Matt Freese had some good moments in the Gold Cup and some shaky ones too. So, I don't think anything's settled in terms of that. And the other one is the striker position. You've got, 4 guys, I think, in Folarin Balogun, Josh Sargent, Ricardo Pepi, and then I would say Haji Wright, who seemed to be in pretty good form, but it seemed like Balogun had gained some separation, I thought, from the chasing pack. But then, he had a couple bad games for Monaco, and then he was on the bench, and he started on the bench again today. I mean, today was kind of a tough one to judge Balogun because Monaco got a guy sent off in the first half, and then Balogun came on at halftime. So, that one carries with it a pretty significant asterisk. But, there's just a lot of questions about, how, what decision is Pochettino going to make? Who's going to step up? And, I think at some point you need kind of a battering ram type situation where, you've got a guy who just brings a huge physical presence off the bench. And, you've got guys like Damian Downs or Patrick Agyemang. We'll see what kind of role they end up playing. And then the formation too. I mean, the 3-man back line worked really well, I thought, in the last window, but, we'll see how things move forward. Injuries are always going to play a part. Form is going to play a part. So, but I think the encouraging thing out of the last window is that 3-man back line. It at least gives Mauricio Pochettino some tactical flexibility and can create some confusion for the opposition in terms of how the U.S. is going to line up.
Yeah, I think one of the worries was the lack of consistency at center back and how that all was going to shake out, and it seems the shift to the 3-man back line was Pochettino also worried about that and trying to find a solution to that. And one thing that's come out of that, and I know there's a lot of talk about Pulisic and Adams being like the guys, and if they go south, the team goes south. But to me now, if you had to pick a guy that was the glue that holds everything together, and it's the one guy that, man, we hope this guy does not get hurt because of the way he's playing for club and country, is Chris Richards. And I think that 3-man back line has kind of shown that a little bit too. That,
yeah, absolutely.
He's kind of the guy right now.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Sure.
I'm curious because a lot of the talk lately has been, all right, so Chris Richards is good, but can they find a second guy? But now you need 2 other guys to play with.
But it dilutes the importance of 2 guys, right? I mean, a little bit.
So, Jeff, do you, if it is a 3-man back line at this point, who do you think the most likely 3 in the back is going to start?
Well, I think you're going to put Richards in the middle, which is a slight change from where he plays for his club, because for Crystal Palace, he's on kind of the right side of that defense. But you put him in the middle. You've got Tim Ream on the left, and then I think you're looking at Mark McKenzie there on the right. This is a guy, everyone's, myself included, is worried about playing time. Who's playing? Who's not? And Mark McKenzie has been getting on the field for Toulouse on a very consistent basis. And so, I think right now he's the guy that I think you put on the right side. With the national team, he has been inconsistent. I mean, he has not always shown the best version of himself. So, I mean, I think the competition for that spot in particular is still open. But we'll see if a guy like Tristan Blackman or a Miles Robinson can make a play and push to be included in that lineup. But right now I would go with those 3 guys: Ream, Richards, McKenzie.
Okay. I want to move to midfield. Because several weeks ago, or one of these windows ago, I said, man, nobody be surprised if Pochettino pulls some really surprising announcements when it comes to the roster, and some of your favorites aren't going to the World Cup. And I'm at the point where I am openly now wondering if Weston McKennie is not going – are we going to play a World Cup in 26 that Weston McKennie is not a part of?
It's possible. I mean, I think, trying to read between the lines, read the tea leaves, pick your cliche. You get the sense that Pochettino is not happy with McKennie, with the effort that he put in. I mean, the Nations League, I think, made a real impression on Pochettino. Like, man, these guys, I'm not sure I can count on certain guys. And so, it's the interesting thing too was, looking back to that that conference call with Pochettino when he explained why he didn't include Weston McKennie, it was like, well, he had to do the Nations League and, he needed a rest, et cetera. Well, for whatever reason, that logic didn't apply to Tim Weah. I mean, he was also in the Club World Cup and made a move to Marseille, and he still got called in. So, I think we're definitely looking at a situation where Weston McKennie might not be included. I mean, this October window is going to be just fascinating because I think we're going to get some real insight into who Pochettino likes, who he doesn't, and who's really got, again, their nose in front to win one of those spots on the final roster.
And is it just what happens on the field? How important is how they are off the field? Chemistry, locker room. I don't know.
Vital
for him, especially a coach from overseas. We hear those kind of things are really important to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Pochettino made that comment like, some guys think it's, they come in, they're here to visit with family, they're here to play golf, go out to dinner. And, then you look at who's called in and who isn't. And so, that I think that's another reason, why we might not see McKennie. Now, come October, McKennie may be there. But I think the other issue, too, for McKennie is that he's not getting consistent playing time with Juventus. I mean, he is a squad player. He came off the bench today. Juventus drew 1-1 with Atalanta. Yunus Musa came off the bench in that game, too, for Atalanta. But we'll see. And McKennie's been playing a little bit as a wing back. So he hasn't even been playing his primary position, which is in the center of midfield. So, I think those are all, I think all those little things kind of add up after a while. But again, we'll see what decision Pochettino makes.
All right, we only got a couple of minutes left. U.S. plays again in the October window on the 10th and the 14th against Ecuador and Australia. And you included this in your Best 11 or Form 11 article the other day. He's got to call Tessman up. Tessman is playing so well for Lyon. He hit a really good goal in Europa League earlier this week. He's got to fit in there somewhere, right? He's got to look at him again.
He has to. I mean, I don't see how you can ignore the way Tanner Tessman is playing. And I mean, if he doesn't get called up, that means there's something deeper that happened before. I mean, no one looked good in the Nations League. Nobody. And so I don't know the extent to which, Pochettino might be holding that against players like Tessman who are there. But I just think you look at the start to the season that he's gotten off to and the start that Lyon has gotten off to.
Yeah.
And I think, you've got to look at that and say, you have to call him in. I mean, and I look at this three-man back line, so you're playing with wing backs, you're playing with like two central midfielders. And I think when you have wing backs like Serginho Dest, like Max Arfsten, who aren't that great defensively, I think you're going to need your central midfielders to kind of veer up to the side of being maybe a little bit more defensive. I mean, obviously Tessman is a two-way player, but just his size and his presence,
he's a truck. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to make, I think that just provides a little bit more balance to the team when you have wingbacks that are so intent on going forward. So, so I'm with you. I mean, I think he's got to call in Tessman. If he doesn't, man, I don't know what Tessman can do. I mean, Landon Donovan said he thought the ship had sailed with regard to Tessman. I don't agree. I think you've got to look at current form and you've got to look at the way he's responded to this, I don't want to call it a snub, because Pochettino says he wants to look at different guys. That's fine, but you've got to look at the current form that Tessman is in, and the logical decision is to include him, I think.
All right. We got to go, but I'm just going to ask you real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we're winning the World Cup, 1 is we're getting grouped, where is the Jeff Carlisle Yank meter sitting these days?
You're always going to give this rating every time you come on leading up to World Cup, by the way.
Right.
So we're just going to
This is going to be a running meter.
Yeah.
What's your number today, sir?
I think 5 or 6 is. I think they get out of the group. Don't forget, 3 teams can progress.
Yes.
So there's a lot more wiggle room, than there was.
Basically, don't get skunked in any game and just win one game.
Yeah. So
beat the minnow.
Yeah. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. How the draw comes out. I mean, that always is a huge factor in how things transpire. And so, we'll see.
All right. The great Jeff Carlisle. Can we visit with you again in a few weeks before the October window, sir, please?
Absolutely.
All right. Awesome. Love talking to you, dude. It's great. Thanks for coming on today.
All right. No problem, guys.
All right. The good Jeff Carlisle from ESPN.com. When Andy and I come back, let's take a review of the first week in Europe next year on the KickAround. Just want everybody to stop what you're doing and listen to what I'm about to say.
Oh, my God.
The current Premier League table is Liverpool, Palace in second, Sunderland in third, Bournemouth fourth, and City fifth.
So,
as Newcastle loses today to Sunderland, who now have 11 points.
If you could go to a betting house and bet that those 5 would be the top 5 at the end of the season, what odds could you get?
Impossible odds. Seem impossible, as my friend George
But
would say.
what? Can I point one thing out about the table real quick?
Yes, please do, Andy.
City is in 5th. City, let's not even say where they are. They're still 5 points behind Liverpool, which is amazing.
Yes.
Their start was so bad that Liverpool losing today and City winning, they're still 5 behind Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, Arsenal and Spurs, obviously
Yeah,
Spurs plays later this game.
Arsenal win, and
Arsenal has to play tomorrow.
Sure, no.
They
I'm
could
talking
be
about
close.
City specifically.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. In the mix of all of this, boys and girls, the Champions League and Europa League have picked back up. We had this new weird thing where instead of games being played over the course of a week for both leagues, they dedicate a week for each league. So since the last time we've talked, the Champions League is kicked off 2 weeks ago, and Europa League was this particular week. Headlining the Champions League was once again Liverpool pulling it out of their butt at the last second.
Against a very good team. Come on.
Well, yes, but up until today, it almost feels like Liverpool feels obligated to let the other team catch up just so they can
that was my point when
pull
I spoke.
drama.
That was my point when I spoke to you yesterday. That can only go on for so long before you pay for it. And today they paid for it.
Well, and then you had some really rude fans getting in Simeone's
head.
head.
What ultimately came out of that? Like what?
So I read an article somewhere that the guy that he confronted is a guy that has been thrown out for getting into it with a female fan somewhere. I don't know if this is true.
Okay.
I may be repeating something that may not be accurate.
We're talking about Simeone, Atletico Madrid's coach. By the way.
Who got red carded towards the end of the game because he confronted a fan who he claims had been in his ear the entire game, which seems completely impossible that you could get on.
Yeah.
You could be so annoying to Simeone that he'd actually bother to turn and say something or do something to you.
It must have been quite the line.
Yes. So Liverpool ended up winning that game 3-2, kicking off a good start to the Champions League season.
Really no surprises. The one big surprise was Benfica losing at home. By the way, which now leads to Mourinho now being the coach of Benfica because they fired their coach. They lost at home against Karabag.
Which is
the Azerbaijan.
Yes.
Team. Yeah.
Which is funny to me because, first off, is that currently the furthest eastern located club?
Good. I don't know. Yeah,
somebody's been talking about the travel that that had to take place.
That makes sense.
Was ridiculous, and it was funny that it was this weird little Eastern European club that ended up causing Mourinho to end up becoming the manager at Benfica, which is such a weird turn of events. That was a crazy result. Harry Kane, speaking of Harry Kane, who scored twice today to score the 100th, or was it yesterday? I'm sorry. To score 100 goals for Bayern Munich. He got the 2 previous goals last week against Chelsea as Bayern Munich beat Chelsea 3-1. And Barcelona playing Newcastle.
Yeah.
Marcus. So I want to tell you a quick story about this. I'm watching this game. Remember, I'm a United fan, and I have some really weird feelings about Marcus Rashford, many of which is that his situation is a byproduct of his attitude more times than not. And I watched the first half of this game, and I watched Marcus Rashford repeatedly have the ball taken away from him, lose duels, make bad passes, and play like total crap against Newcastle, thinking, okay, and then, and not only would he turn the ball over, just stand there while Newcastle goes on the counter and not track back. ...
Only 2.
And then I go to whatever I had to go to come back to find out he hit 2 utterly incredible bangers as Barcelona ended up winning that game 2-1.
And do you know then he got in trouble?
Yes.
Back home.
He was
suspended for a training session or something?
No, he was suspended. He was not started for the next game because he was 2 minutes late for a training session or a meeting or something.
Okay, but still. Okay.
Well, that was kind of the run on him at United, too.
Yeah, okay.
City got a big, strong win against Napoli. And, general kind of, this is the new Swiss model. Swiss-style Champions League table. We're all going to have to get used to it. Arsenal, I thought, had a really good result against Athletic Club at Bilbao.
Yes.
That's an incredibly tough place to go.
They're a very good team.
And they were very good.
Yeah.
And the 2 guys, Martinelli and Trossard, came off the bench and scored, and that was great for them. So,
Weston's Juve 4-4. That was a crazy game. I don't know if you saw highlights.
Man, that game was that game
nuts.
was very, very nuts. Yep. So interesting times for sure. Now, this week was Europa League, and we mentioned earlier that Unai Emery's Aston Villa kind of got off the snide as John McGinn's early goal helped them beat Bologna 1-0. Are you at all familiar or up to date with what's going on with Rangers, the Scottish club?
No, I mean more so than the internal chaos.
Well, so they hired Russ Martin, the very
not the catcher, not the radio guy,
not the dead radio host,
or
talk
the Blue
show
Jay
host.
catcher.
Right?
Okay.
No. We're talking about the guy that was the manager at Southampton, that was very dogmatic in the style of play that got them in all sorts of trouble. Right.
Yeah,
So he got hired at Rangers. And the fans did not want him from the jump. They have yet to win a game in the Scottish Premier League.
Yeah.
And they lost to Genk to start the Europa League. And they haven't...
At home, by the way.
Yeah, at home.
Yeah.
And so it's not looking good for that Scottish club. Forest, and which would I believe would have been... Yeah, I think this was Nuno's first official game.
Correct. But within 48 hours of being hired.
Yes. So this is interesting because of Forrest's. One of the side things about today's loss to Sunderland is the fact that he didn't start Igor Jesus, which is the best name in football, by the way. And after Igor Jesus scored twice in Europe against Betis, and I think he had also scored in the previous game, and everybody was like, man, Igor Jesus may have...
Igor Jesus, but yes.
Can I say it Igor Jesus because it's funny? It sounds better when I say it Igor Jesus.
Sure.
Is it Jesus?
Well, in Portuguese, and he's Brazilian. Yeah.
Now you ruined it. Now it's not as great
Go
a name
ahead.
when
You
say
can call him whatever you want. It's not like we don't butcher names and haven't been doing it for 10 years. So
my point
what's one
is,
more name?
After scoring a bunch of goals for Forest, he didn't start him today in the league, and they end up losing. Now he came in the 60th minute and didn't do anything. But I do wonder how many Forest fans are curious as to why Chris Woods got the start today, considering the form Igor Jesus has been in of late. Anthony, by the way, also scored that goal, one of the goals for Betis in there. And Tanner Tessman hit that banger against Utrecht.
Go Google that if you haven't seen that, by the way.
We put it up on our
P1s.
put it on our Twitter account several days ago. You can find it in there. It's the Alabama Hammer, which is such a great goal. I think it's his first goal for Lyon, but For anybody that has spent any time watching Tanner play for FC Dallas, especially in the academy, that's not something that you were unfamiliar with out of his toolkit. So
we have Champions League this week, so some big games. One big game is let me find the dates. Liverpool's away in Turkey. They play at Galatasaray, and that's always a difficult. But Arsenal gets Olympiacos from Greece at home.
Interesting. Spurs is in Norway at Bodo Glimt, who, by the way, Bodo Glimt is an incredibly fun team to watch.
And isn't that one of, like, Lars has something to say about that. I mean, Lars is Norwegian, so are they. But is this the same team that...
No,
okay.
No. I mean, they're just because they're Norwegian, we always kind of lump them in with Lars. But I'm telling you, I watched a lot of their game the other day. I can't remember who they played in the first week. I'm telling you, that team is really, really fun to watch. Chelsea has Benfica.
The big game is Barca PSG.
Yeah, amazing stuff. This is the plus upside to this Swiss model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, there you go. Just kind of recapping and previewing the ongoings in Europe. When we come back, it's your favorite new regular segment on the Kick-Around. World Cup Nerd next. Oh, the sweet sounds of the World Cup. Don't forget, we got a bonus segment today because we are going to 2:30 before two colleges battle in college football. Their kind of football. Welcome back to the Kick-Around. Andy's here. I'm here. And we've got a couple more segments, as I said. And now it is time. That music indicates it's time for everybody's favorite new regular segment on the Kick-Around, World Cup Nerd. With the 2026 World Cup nigh around the corner, just upon us, it seems appropriate for us to get into all sorts of topics related to the World Cup, trying to give you all the information. And interestingly, this weekend, another World Cup kicks off, and it's an important one. It is the U20 World Cup that the U.S. men's national team is playing in, and they're in Group E, and this tournament is taking place, ironically, in Andy's mothership country of Chile.
It is. They've hosted an under-17 before. They've hosted the real World Cup before. But, the under-20s.
Did you notify the Federation and give them all the restaurants in Chile
Yes,
to go
I
to?
gave them all the hot spots, where to go, where not to go.
Yeah.
Food to eat, so they should be set.
Helping them become culturally appropriate.
That's right.
And remind them not to accidentally
do
refer to them
things.
as Peruvians.
Oh, yeah, that would be bad. They wouldn't. That would not be a good.
So why is the U.S. or not the U.S. the world the under-20 World Cup important to the larger World Cup theme?
Well, there is some correlation. By the way, the U.S. plays Monday.
Yes,
right?
Monday against New Caledonia.
Yeah, so that should be a gimme game. But France,
which I didn't even know was a country.
Yeah, France and South Africa are also in their group, and these games can be seen on the Fox stations. I think FS1, FS2, and then Telemundo and Universo carries them in Spanish. So they'll be on for the next few weeks. But there is some correlation between success at the under-20 and under-17 level and how those national teams eventually perform in senior World Cups. Not immediately after, obviously, but maybe a World Cup or two or three after the performance in the under-20s. And one thing that we do and should keep in mind is that things have changed a little bit in who plays, how the rosters are made up at the under-20 level, because clubs are not required now to release players for youth tournaments.
When did that change?
It changed, I think, once they went to every 2 years, or when actually it probably changed when the senior sides started to really play more games. Clubs had to be given some leeway in when they could keep players and not keep players. So it won't feature the top under-20, all the top under-20 players in the world.
Let me interject a question here. I have this perception that the number of very young players, meaning 20 at the oldest, running down to 19, 18, 17, we are in an age where we're seeing those guys, those age players playing for senior teams, first teams, way more often than we ever used to back 10, 15, 20 years ago. Is that my perception correct?
No, that's the way it's becoming a younger and younger man's game all the time. Okay. All sports in general. I mean, it's a trend that we're seeing. And so clubs are now really more reluctant to release players for the Under-20 World Cup. So, so that affects a little bit how we look at the correlation between success at the Under-20s and how that leads to success at the senior World Cup level. And the other thing is we also have to look at it at success and cluster of work, because the Under-20 World Cup is played every 2 years. So you don't want to look at it like a one-off and think, okay, that's going to translate to success. And then also look at the Under-17 World Cup, success in that World Cup, and then how that led to the Under-20 World Cup, the national team having success, same country, and then that leading to the senior national team having success. So Argentina and Brazil, they're by far and away the two more successful countries in the Under-20 and Under-17 World Cups. Argentina Under-20s, they kind of dominate that. Brazil has had the most success at the Under-17 level, and I think that's obvious. The number of players they have in the younger age groups at the youth level that are good, in Brazil and Argentina, I mean, they have more depth than any country in the world.
It also tends to be these kind of youth World Cups where we see nations, like not commonly powerhouse nations, be successful. African nations, for example.
Yeah, so I'll get to that. Okay. I would just want to get the powers out of the way, the traditional powers. Argentina, Brazil always do well, or they're big players in the youth World Cups. And obviously that translates to the senior teams. They've done qualify for all the World Cups. They're always favorites or among the favorites to win it. Spain, though, let's look at Spain. Spain, and
España,
for a long time, and you now remember them and you know them as a traditional soccer power, but for a long time they never had success at the World Cup level. It was always frustrating for the Spanish national team, and they then emphasized player development. They largely with what Barcelona was doing, they became congruent with what their national teams were doing from the senior level all the way to the youth teams, and they started to have a lot of success at the Under-20 and Under-17 level, and that then led to them having success. Now, ever since the 2010 World Cup when they won it to today, Spain is a consistent player in the senior World Cup. So there's a direct correlation there. When Spain turned it around at the youth, at the Under-20 level, they then became successful at the senior level. France, same thing. They have been back-to-back finalists. There was a time maybe 10, 15 years ago when they really started to have success at the Under-20 and Under-17 level, and that's translated to World Cup success. Germany used to have success at the youth levels. They made 6 out of 10 finals from one point, from 54 to 90. And then their World Cup success has dried up a bit. They won in 2014, but now they're having trouble getting out of the group stage. They haven't had a lot of success at the Under-20 and Under-17 World Cup. So there's a direct correlation there. So even with the powers, their national team success at the youth levels leads to success at the World Cup level. But what about mid-tier teams? Portugal, for you, Portugal is a team that is a constant World Cup player, right? They're always in it. But they only made 2 of the first 16 World Cups. And it wasn't until they started to have success at player development and then had success and won Under-20 World Cups and Under-17 World Cups that led to them now becoming a perennial World Cup contender. Chile, they've had 2 golden generations. The Zamorano Salas, I don't know if that was more in the 90s.
I recall those guys? Yeah, for sure.
That was preceded by success at the youth level. And the golden generation that we know of, the 2010 and 2014 World Cup teams that were so good, were preceded by success at the Under-20 level. Ghana, big, strong World Cup player now. They were preceded with World Cup success at the Under-20 level. Costa Rica, remember the run they had in the 2014 World Cup? They were preceded by success at the Under-20 World Cup. So where does the USA fit in all this? They've only finished top 4 one time.
In the U-20 World Cup.
In the U-20 World Cup, and that was 1989. Now, that was right at the heels of them about to go on a run of qualifying for 7 straight World Cups. And there's some players on that team that did play a part in that. principally Casey Keller. He was the goalkeeper of that team. So you could see that success there where they finished top 4 did lead to the U.S. national team doing good things. They haven't done much since. They've only gotten to quarterfinals, haven't gotten past that. So that's something to keep an eye on. Now, what teams should we look at this World Cup coming up? Not the Under-20 World Cup, but the one that we're going to host in 2026. What teams participating in this World Cup have had success recently in Under-20s and Under-17s, the teams that we can look at and say, okay, maybe the success that they had at the youth levels.
It's not the United States.
It's not the U.S.
Oh, okay. Is it Chile?
No, it's not Chile.
Is it Canada?
It is not Canada. 2 mid-tier teams.
Andy.
South Korea. Okay,
really?
So they've done really well at the Under-20, Under-17 level. So look for them to get a little bit stronger at the World Cup level. Uruguay has done really well at the youth level. We've always looked at Uruguay as that middling. Are they a power? They've won World Cups, but they're really not in modern times. They've done really well recently, so that may foretell something they'll do in the next World Cups. The other one is a power, and it's Italy. And I mentioned Italy because Italy has struggled to qualify for World Cups. Yes. Right? They've had issues with World Cup.
Yes. And they still are kind of having a problem.
But they might have turned the corner with player development over recent times because they've done really well at the Under-17 and Under-20 World Cups. And so maybe that'll lead to Italy coming back and being the force that they used to be.
Well, the tournament kicks off this weekend, as Andy said, in Chile. The U.S. plays on Monday against New Caledonia. That game is on FS1. Then they play Thursday against France. That's going to be a fun game to watch. That's on the 2nd. And then they play South Africa on Sunday to get out.
Probably to see who gets out of the group.
Probably to see out who. Now, we should not finish this without mentioning that Dallas has one of its own in this tournament. Nolan Norris has been called up and is on the roster, and we'll see.
What does he play so people can watch the game, can look for him?
Generally at the national. Well, actually, he's been doing it for the club team too. He plays a fullback position, generally on the left.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. Nolan's a great player. Can also play in the middle. Very good center midfielder. Mostly more of a 6 than anything else, but tends to get deployed as a fullback.
Original position was a 6, but he's Yep.
You can't miss him. He looks like Dennis the Menace out there. Shocking blonde hair. Really nice player, and we're very proud of the fact that he plays for FC Dallas for sure. All right, so World Cup Nerd, Andy. Another successful episode of World Cup Nerd. Anything else you want to add?
No, just
making sure you got everything out you wanted to get out.
Yeah.
You're the World Cup
watch
nerd.
Some Under-20 World Cup, all national team competitions.
Is there a favorite for this particular tournament?
No, I was going to say it's very hard to predict a favorite for the Under-20s. I mean, you get random teams. It's not just necessarily the traditional powers that win it.
It'll be fun to watch. And because it's available to watch, the tournaments are always kind of entertaining, back and forth deals. They're very different from senior or regular top-level World Cups. They tend to be wide-open games.
Yeah, same format.
Yep.
Group stage and then on to knockout rounds. But you're right. Just because a traditional power meets,
New Caledonia.
New Caledonia. That's so interesting that they're in the World Cup. But yep.
If I handed you a globe, could you point to New
absolutely.
Caledonia?
Yep. Could you?
No. I think I have a general idea of where it is. In the southern Pacific Ocean. Yes. Yeah. I only know that because of the Confederation there, and I'm just making a good educated guess.
Because of the Oceania.
Oceania.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
All right.
It's near an ocean.
See how soccer teaches geography?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Just not great.
It's actually very close to Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it previously called something else?
I don't know.
Was it, a lot of African nations have changed names.
Okay, so therefore just random
Well, I just don't ever
countries around the
remember
world.
New Caledonia being a team that even playing in qualifiers or something like that. That's
well, they might have not had a national team till recently too.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Thank you, World Cup Nerd. When we come back, it's time for a bonus segment. It'll be the dribble next on the Kick Around. We have made it to a bonus segment of the Kick Around, as coming up at 2:30 sharp. EA, it is LSU and Rice.
LSU and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. That's close. Ole Miss, Rice, same thing, right? NCAA football. And I think it's a doubleheader today. Isn't there another game after that?
Yes, Alabama and forgot the other one.
Rice. Let's just call it Rice. I don't know. That's coming up here on the ticket. Let's do America's favorite soccer segment known as The Dribble. All right, we're going to kill off this bonus segment.
What?
Just by talking about various subjects
until
the end of the show. We were talking about the U20 World Cup. And if we have successfully encouraged you to watch this over the course of the next few weeks, you should know going into that they will be testing the junior version of VAR, which is called video. Excuse me, I want to make sure I say that. Football Video Support, the FVS system.
So people would go to FVS.
Yes.
That's more difficult to say than VAR.
And we'll have to come up with a completely different alarm for that.
Okay.
Now, what this is an attempt by FIFA and IFAB to develop a system for video review that is less costly, less complicated, and easier for smaller, lower leagues, youth leagues, everything to implement. And so they're going to be using it. They've been testing it at different places already. But essentially, and I'm going to try to explain this as quickly as possible, in VAR currently, they take all the camera angles that are available and they feed it to a group of officials who are monitoring the game in real time and alerting the referee when they think there's something that needs to be re-adjudicated. In this system, there are at least 3 cameras videoing the game in real time, but there's nobody monitoring the game. Each team's manager is allotted 2 challenges.
Do they throw a flag on the field?
No, they throw their finger up in the air to indicate to the 4th official that they want to review.
Which finger?
That part was not made very clear.
All right.
And then they have to hand them a blue card. I guess that is the official designation of, hey, we think this needs to be reviewed. Okay. Now, like VAR, these reviews are limited to very specific things on the field.
Okay.
Fouls in the box for PKs, potential red cards.
Goal, no goal.
Goal, no goal.
Mistaken identity.
And mistaken identity. Same thing as VAR. The only real difference here is fewer number of angles to review from, and the fact that it's left up to a manager to make the decision if they want to challenge the play or not.
And then if the coach is right and they win the challenge, they keep the challenge.
Yep.
So they get the blue card back.
Correct.
And then if they're right and the referee is wrong, they win the challenge. Do they give them the finger again?
Probably.
In a different way?
Probably, yes.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. This is what makes this system a little bit less perfect, is the fact that it could be, in most instances, just 3 camera angles, which means the referee is going to be asked to go review something, and the camera and the review play angles may not definitively show something.
You know what this is going to do? Because right now with VAR, you have the people making the decision in a remote truck or other place, whatever, and they're kind of like faceless, and you can get mad at their decision. But now it'll be the referee disagreeing with the coach about the challenge. Basically.
Probably. I'm assuming that the coach will not be allowed to go stand next to him at the monitor and point and elbow and all that stuff.
Can't wait to watch this.
But yeah, it's an interesting idea. I mean, I think the effort and the idea and the intention is right. We'll see. So, by the way, if you're watching the U20 World Cup in the next few weeks and you see something like that, that is what is going on. Liverpool's done something really cool. They've announced they're going to pay out the remainder of Diego Jota's contract in full. He had 2 years left on his deal. Mm-hmm. I guess now people seem surprised by this. Is this uncommon?
I guess it is. You know, I had the same question. It seemed like a really cool thing to do. And then I don't think I recall ever reading that a team has done that. But often, it's not often that players die in the middle of their playing career too, right?
No. Well, speaking of which, there was an absolutely tragic story out of England. Down in the National League, a player named Billy Vigor, who came up through the Arsenal system, was playing for, I think I'm pronouncing this correctly, a small club called Chichester, and they were playing in the 6th or 7th tier, and they were playing at Wingate in Finchley. And I have not seen the video.
No.
I don't know how this happened. I just know that he sustained a traumatic brain injury. And I'll tell you, I know how it happened. I just haven't seen the video.
Okay.
And ultimately, they had to stop the game, and he was sent to the ER, and they had to perform brain surgery, and he died.
Yeah.
Which is an awful, awful thing. Well, lo and behold, it turns out that the stadium at which this game was being played at Wingate in Finchley is one of these very classic old English small grounds, tiny little stands surrounding a pitch. But surrounding this field is a cinder block wall about waist high. And it is not that far from the touch lines.
Yeah, like if you can't stop from a running play,
you're going to run into a cinder block wall.
Yeah.
Now, at the EFL level and above, all of that is outlawed. There's all sorts of guidelines and stuff that, prevent this from happening. But apparently down outside of the professional levels, when you get down into these amateur levels, those rules don't exist.
Yeah.
And I guess somehow he ran headfirst into this thing.
Yeah,
and
that's going to change now. They're going to change
it
that.
has to.
Yeah.
And I was talking to, a couple different people about it, and apparently this has been a thing, or people have been crying out for these changes and these rules for a long time, because it just, when you see a photo of the wall, you're like, how has this not happened 100 times?
Yeah.
Because it's not just that it's a concrete or cinder block wall. It stops at about waist high, and you could see somebody just clattering his head into the top of that wall, challenging for a ball going off the field.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
It's terrible.
Yep.
Really, really bad. So, Andy, since we last talked, the balloon oar, as I like to call it.
Man, there's so much controversy with this thing. Like, it was so easy when it was Messi or Ronaldo every year, right? But
Dembele won the balloon oar.
And he attended because the rest of the team couldn't attend because they had a game that they had to play because they had a suspended game, which then the replay was during the award ceremony, but somehow he made it. Do you agree with the
I get, yeah. I mean, I think a lot
nobody's
of people.
stepping up these
Well, I
days.
think a lot of people wanted to see Lamine Yamal win it,
Yeah,
just
'cause
because
he's
it'd be
young.
fun
He'll
to see
win
a
one down the
kid.
line.
He was 300 votes behind Dembele for the win. I think
Did
Dembele
Salah
win it is a
deserve
good
some
one.
votes or
He got 4th.
yeah?
He was 4th.
Okay.
Scott McTominay was 18th.
I know because he's turned it around in Italy, man. He is the man.
We have now received the official word that Sergio Busquets is going to retire at the end of this current Major League Soccer season with Inter Miami.
So he'll raise the MLS trophy and then say, "That's it. I've done it all."
I have finally
now that I have
officially won every single.
He actually has won every.
He really.
Yeah.
There's a photo of him, kind of like squatting on the ground with every trophy he has collected in his career.
Unreal.
It almost looks like it's done by AI.
Yeah.
Or it's some sort of Photoshop job, because there's no way one human being won that much silver. But he has.
With Spain and Barcelona, they were winning everything.
They won everything. It is really quite remarkable.
And now with Miami, he won Leagues Cup.
Yeah.
So there's that, right?
Yeah. I'll see. Well, it'll be interesting to see. He's 37 years old. It will be interesting to see if Miami's able to pull this off and win this one. MLS Cup's getting ready to
they can
start
make a
here
run
relatively soon.
Why wouldn't they be able to make a run? I mean, Messi's scoring 2 goals a game automatically.
The new Andy, I know you're not a video gamer, and I stopped playing soccer video, FIFA and PES and stuff years ago.
You did?
But the new EA Sports FC 26 came out this week.
EA? What?
Not that EA.
Oh.
Not that EA. So just for juxtaposition, Christian Pulisic is the highest rated American player at 84 points, like kind of the overall score.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to guess who?
Where does he rank, like, overall? I wonder what 84 gets you.
Well,
top 300?
I was getting ready to give you a list here.
Okay.
So Let's see. Would you like to guess who number 1 is?
The current number 1?
Yeah, highest rated men's player.
Jamal?
No, it's Mohamed Salah. Well, this must not be a complete list. This doesn't make sense.
What's Salah rate?
It's 91. That can't be right. Something didn't print out
Because speed
correctly.
matters.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Way to have everything buttoned up for this point you were trying to make.
Well, I was trying to read off the scores because apparently the players get really offended.
They do.
Over
in
the
all
scores.
sports. Like NFL players, same thing.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Well, there you go.
Who was the
That's
highest
gonna do
rated
it.
United player? Was it Fernandez? Who's your favorite United player, by the way?
Of what?
With that, I'll say bye. But you could. Your favorite Manchester United player?
Oh, Paul Scholes.
No, current. Bye.
I don't have one. All right. There you go. We are done. Football coming up next. Thank you to Connerly for doing tickers. Thank you to EA for producing and Trammell for running the board. P1s will be back probably at noon again next week. We love and adore you. Go on out there, get stuck in, and win your 50.